YouTube, how the duck you doing? Duck Films here, and today on a random Tuesday, June 30th, Yoshi decided, you know what, it's a good time to drop a new patch. But anyways, let's get started. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe, and yeah, let's look at it. So, King of the Hill. King of the Hill objective has been rethemed and renamed to Unstable Rift. Unstable Rift no longer requires an earned delivery to trigger the start of the event. It now has a variable start time of plus or minus a minute. There's a global announcement 25 seconds before it spawns. Seconds before that, there's also an in-world only visual effect to let you know which lane it was randomly spawn in. Unstable Rift spawns interval increase from every 6 minutes to every 7 minutes. Unstable Rift comeback bonuses resist in the area. The team that secures the Unstable Rift now also has a wave of 5 Rift Troopers. Rift Troopers drop no souls, which is pretty massive. Rift Troopers spawn with 100% extra health and damage. This is essentially just another objective on top of the urn, I believe, which is pretty cool. So we can actually see what these look like. So if we test this, you can see this is what the rift looks like. Like so, when the urn spawns, you can see it. What it kind of looks like. If I grab the urn. So it spawns on random sides of the map around the timer of the urn. And you can see there's to capture the... See it's dropping down. Bada bing, bada boom. You're in the area. You can see it going up. You can see the amount of souls. So again, it's another objective essentially on top of the urn that we have, which is really cool. I'm glad they're adding something else. These are the minions coming out. You can see they're pretty big and tanky, so these are going to have to be destroyed because they do not really take that much damage, which is pretty damn cool, I would say. So yeah, being able to destroy those as quickly as possible is a probably good idea. Like I said, you now get +1 permanent buff, so it doesn't grant +1 permanent buff. It's now +3 buffs to the Urn Runner. Or sorry, there's no +3. So Urn Running is now its own objective, like I said, its own thing. Urn cannot be manually dropped. It gets dropped when you get hit with a light or heavy melee. So it's just back to... It's back to what it originally was, essentially. The concept of this running it in. But the Rift is its own thing now, which is pretty cool. I kind of like this change. But then we got a rework of the Boons, as you can see. Here are the Boons. So now I believe... so you get max level at 48.6k souls instead of 40, which is pretty cool. Then we got some other changes. So health per boon reduced by 5. All ultimate base and upgrade cooldowns nerfed by 15. Rejuve buff duration reduced from 4 to 3. Respawn ramp change from 8 to 30 seconds, from 5 to 19 minutes, to 8 to 35, from 5 to 20. Guardian bounty reduced from 15 to 1250. Walker bounty reduced from 4,350. First blood bounty reduced. Base kill bounty reduced. Trooper bounty rescaled from 116 plus 1.16 a minute to 100 plus 2 a minute. Less before 20 minute, more after. Trooper bounty ratio and deniable flying orb increased from 40 to 50%. Minimum unsecured souls allowed to drop reduced from 150 to 50 plus 5 minutes, which is pretty cool. Then we have dash jump input window increase from 0.2 to 0.25. You can start at 0.3 and it ends at 0.55. Dash jump distance increase from 18 to 19, and dash jump vertical impulse increase from 400 to 425. So pretty significant when you think about it, in the sense that you're going to be dash jumping a lot further now. You can't necessarily wall jump right away, but overall some pretty nice changes. Jump pads on the top of the double centers building has been removed. So if we come to double centers, you can see this. There is no jump pad here anymore, which is, I don't know if I like this change. Like, if a rem's coming to steal centers, it's going to be a little bit harder for him to get out. So I guess it's trying to, like, I guess in a sense, is this a way to nerf rem in a way? Because now he doesn't have that free access anymore, which is pretty cool. But you can let me know what you think in the comments down below. I honestly really am liking this unstable rift. I think it's a really cool concept, something else to do. Hovering an item in the shop now shows you a preview of the investment bars. So if we come in, you can see it over here. Boom, 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 boom. Pretty cool. Street Ball, don't really care about that. Mystic Shut, cooldown increased from 8 to 9. Toxic Bullets bleed damage increased from 1.7 to 1.9. So Toxic is going to be another thing to buy. Scourge, max health DPS reduced from 3.5 to 2.6. Pretty significant change. Max health DPS scales now with Spirit, so that's pretty important. Curse Relic, damage penalty increased from -10 to -14. You're going to still buy it on Haze because you're still going to be doing a solo isolation ult. But I think the big thing is this Toxic Bullets change and the Scourge change. This Scourge change is insanely big. That's a lot. 3.5% max health DPS to 2.6 is pretty impactful. I'm not really sure. I would have to test a little bit more, but you get an idea. Pretty big. Right, then let's move on to our heroes section. So, Abrams Tier 3 Siphon Life reduced from +3 to +2, and Shoulder Charge Tier 3 reduced from -20 to -18. So pretty big. Apollo Repulse Tier 1 increased from -7 to -8 second cooldown. Repulse Grace Period window to target after channel increase from 1 second to 1.3. So now you have a little bit more leeway when you want to go for a Repulse, which is pretty nice. So if I come into here, you can see now you have some time to choose where you want to go. Repulse targeting angle increased from 70 meters to 90, so you can whip around people pretty easily. Flawless Advanced Heal and Heal Spirit scaling increased from 1 to 1.3. So they're trying to rebuff Apollo into a character that's playable, more playable now. Atilo Sun Tier 3 increase from 40% to 50%, which is pretty massive. So his Execute ultimate is going to be doing even more damage now. So I am still a firm believer that this character is really good. I think it's just going to take a little bit for people to really understand. The big thing, Billy. So let's go to Billy. Alright. Billy, bullet damage per boon reduced by 10%. Pretty massive. Bash down melee scaling reduced from 1.1 to 0.9. Pretty big. Bash Tier 2-3 reduced from 60% heavy melee damage to 50%. So just 10%, still 50%, which is still a good number. Rising Ram Tier 3 increase max HP, damage reduced from 10% to 8. Pretty massive. This 2% is pretty good. I'll have to do the numbers a little bit more. Rising Ram Tier 3 max HP damage spirit scaling increase from 0.017 to 0.035. Break even at 111 spirit power. So your damage with the Rising Ram is going to be a lot more now. Okay. Celeste. Dazzling Trick cooldown reduced from 35 to 32, so a buff. Dagger buff duration increase, so a buff. Dagger spirit scaling increase from 0.56 to 0.63, so a buff. Shining Wonder bounce range increase from 15.5 to 16.5, so a buff. And Shining Wonder damage increased by 10%, so another buff. Okay. Doorman. Doorway cooldown increase from 40 seconds to 45, so a nerf to Doorman. We love to see it. You can see, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's something nice at least. Drifter, health per boon increased from 41 to 43. Ren cast time reduced from 0.5 to 0.4. Ren post time reduced from 0.5 to 0.4. Ren Tier 2 increased from -7 second cooldown to -8. And Blood Scent Tier 1 increased from +2 movement speed while near an isolated enemy to +3, so you can be moving a lot faster. Drifter Blood Scent Tier 2 increased from 18% missing health to +24%. So another buff, or a buff to Drifter overall. Dynamo, rejuvenating aura regeneration increased from 25 seconds to 30 a second. So you can be healing a lot more as Dynamo. Grey Talon, Rain of Arrows cooldown increased from 23 to 25. Guided Owl permanent spirit bonus reduced from 10 to 8. That's only 2 spirit power. It's still a change. Like, it's a good nerf, which is nice. But I don't think it's going to be that big. You're still going to be pumping a ton of damage as this character, so it doesn't really matter too much. Maybe in the later stages, the scaling will be a little bit off, but it's still decent. Holiday, Powder Keg velocity reduced slightly. Powder Keg charge delay increased from 7 seconds to 7.5. Powder Keg spirit scaling reduced from 1.4 to 1.2. Powder Keg Tier 3 reduced from +100 to +80. So if I go to Holiday, actually, I kind of want to see this velocity. What? That's the velocity? Yeah. Yeah, that's quite significant. I mean, definitely a big change with Holiday. Haze. Tier 1 Sleep Dagger increased from minus 8% bullet res to minus 10. Sleep Dagger Tier 2 increased from minus 17 to minus 18. Smoke Bomb Tier 3 increased from plus 40% lifesteal to plus 50. So that's a pretty good change to Haze, I would say. Now you can actually self-sustain a little bit more. You want to get into maxing this faster now, which is, you know, more ideal to go for more roaming and pick. Ivy, Entangling Thorn Spirit scaling increased from 0.5 to 0.55. Ivy Katsu Connection Replicated Healing Health per Boon scale increased from 0.5 to plus 0.85. And Ivy Airdrop cooldown reduction when used on allies increased from minus 25% to minus 30. So a nice little buff to Ivy. With Lash, we have Ground Strike cooldown reduced from 21 to 18. Flog angle increased from 30 to 38. So I actually want to see the flog because I think this might actually be a little bit impactful. So you can see the angles a little bit more, which is nice. Mina, Rake, missing health as damage increased from 5 to 6%. Her Bats Tier 3 now also increases range by 3 meters. Nox Nostra damage increased from 4.45 to 4.6, and the Nox Nostra Tier 1 damage increased from 1.74 to 1.9. So you're going to be playing Mina, probably building back into just damage. Why is it not showing the proper update? I guess the changes weren't necessarily applied right away. So Krill Sandblast Tier 2 now slows the increase from minus 25% to minus 30. Sandblast Tier 3 increased from minus 20 to minus 25. Combo bonus max health per kill increased from 30 plus 1 per boon to 40 plus 2 per boon. Paige. So Paige got a lot of changes, which is nice. Health per boon increased from 29 to 33. Bookworm Tier 1, 2, and 3. It went to plus 2 seconds trail time and plus 1 meters to minus 12 second cooldown. The Tier 2 is now essentially this, right? These got swapped with a little bit emphasis more on range and charge and radius. Tier 3, 100 damage, 30 DPS, 1 charge. It's now 100 damage, 30 DPS, 12 travel time. Tier 1, fire rate spirit scaling, increased from 0.13 to 0.16. Tier 3 barrier 75 to 100%, which is pretty crazy. Rallying charge is now probably counted as a miss for the minus 50% CD reduction if the only thing that was impacted were non-heroes. Rallying charge Tier 3 max amp increased from 50% to 70%. Okay. Kinetic Carbine now also increases move speed. Kinetic Carbine Tier 3 changed from affecting max damage scaling to avoid both min and max damage scaling. It's fine. Pocket. Bullet damage per boon reduced from 0.16 to 0.14. Flying Cloak Tier 3 reduced from minus 12 seconds to minus 11. Okay, that's what I like to see. Rem. Tag along healing per second spirit scaling reduced from 0.66 to 0.4. Yep. Tag along Tier 3 missing health spirit scaling reduced from 0.02 to 0.016. That's fine. Little Helper Spirit Resist reduced from 15 to 12. Little Helper's Tier 1 changed from plus 1 Helper to plus 1 Helper and plus 1.5 move speed. That's nice. Tier 2 changed from plus 8 Spirit Resist and plus 1.5 move spirit to plus 1 Helper and plus 15% Trooper damage and resist. That's going to be crazy. So if you get Little Helpers Tier 2 in lane, your Troopers are going to be doing nuclear damage. That's kind of funny. Little Helpers Tier 3 changed from plus 2 Helpers and plus 20% Trooper damage to plus 1 Helper and plus 15% Spirit Res. So you're getting this faster, but you're dropping the percent by 5. But I still feel like if you juice up your Troopers, it's going to be hard to kill them and just annoy it with them. Okay, 7. Lightning Ball charge delay reduced from 7 to 6 seconds. This guy, Yoshi knows what he's saying, bro. 7 to 6. 7, Storm Cloud time to expand increase from 1.5 to 3.5 seconds, so it's going to keep expanding. Storm Cloud damage interval increase from 0.25 seconds to 0.3, DPS unchanged. Basically, this interval doesn't really mean anything because the DPS is unchanged. Yeah, like, this is something, but because DPS is unchanged, it doesn't really matter too much. Storm Cloud Tier 2 now also increases initial radius by 5 meters, which is pretty big. So Shiv, this is a big thing for Shiv. Alt fire damage now has a custom value per Boon. That's nice. Alt fire ammo consumed per shot increased from 3 to 5. This is good. Alt fire knockback movement is now disabled by slowing Hex state. This is also very good. So if you're slowing Hex Shiv, he can't move. Serrated Knives cooldown reduced from 18 to 16. Slice and Dice now deals plus 25 light melee damage, 75 total, instead of 60 spirit damage, which is kind of interesting. Slice and Dice changed from minus 6% spirit res to plus 4 damage amp. Okay, interesting. Bloodletting Tier 2 changed from plus 50% incoming damage deferred to plus 35. That is pretty big. Getting this Tier 2. Tier 3 changed from 50 deferred to 15% incoming. So they just flipped these two, essentially, the Tier 2 and the Tier 3, but they reduced the numbers, which is nice. Shiv Killing Blow now deals damage to troopers and neutrals along the way. That makes sense. Execute a hero now instantly fills a rage bar. That's fine. Okay, so Shiv Killing Blow now has the Tier 3 recast with 20 seconds on a hero kill as part of the base ability. That's crazy. Killing Blow full rage damage bonus reduced from plus 12 to plus 8. Good. Killing Blow range reduced from 18 to 12 meters for his ult, which is good. Killing Blow Tier 1 now also increases range by 6 meters. That's interesting. Tier 2 increased from plus 10 full range bonus to plus 16. That's a lot. Tier 3 increased from plus 5% health threshold to 10. This is scary. I like a lot of these nerfs and changes to this character. Like, this character will always be strong no matter what changes. But, yeah. This character is still going to be really good. Doesn't really matter to me. Vendetta. Tier 2 stake reduced from minus 20 to minus 22. Krill Familiar Tier 2 increased from minus 12 to minus 16. Krill Familiar collision rate radius between each Krill increased slightly. Assassinate max bonus damage spirit scaling increased from 2 to 2.3. So they keep buffing her ultimate, which is nice. But they're also slightly nerfing her, I guess, like CC and dot damage, which is good. Yeah. Viscous Splatter Tier 3 spirit scaling reduced from 1.1 to 1.0. Puddle Punch Tier 3 increased from minus 12 seconds to minus 14. Viscous Goo Ball Tier 3 increased from plus 6 to plus 7. Viper Screwjab Dagger Tier 3 now also reduces charge delay from 4 to 2. Viper Slither Tier 3 Spirit Scaling increased from 0.6 to 0.8. So we're just buffing Viper for some reason. Whatever. Warden Bullet Damage per Boon reduced from 0.34 to 0.28. Warden Willpower Tier 2 increased from minus 22 to minus 24. And then lastly, Warden Willpower Tier 3 increased from 2.5 Spirit Scaling to 2.7. So they're buffing his willpower. They nerfed his gun. Overall, some pretty cool changes to the game. I'm definitely going to have a lot of fun, testing all the characters. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see all those videos when they come out. But I think the big notable thing is the Unstable Rift. This is the big one, which is definitely something to be looking at. And definitely the rework of the boons, because you're not going to be getting as strong as early. It's going to require more souls to get stronger, essentially. Your last AP slot comes when you have 48,600 souls is when you get your last AP. Usually your last AP before was around the 40k mark, 41 or 40 mark. So you're going to have to farm a little bit more. Same with like all of this is getting an increase. They're trying to incentivize the games to last a little bit longer than just like farming to late game and then just winning the game essentially. They're also dropping like the bounties of the objectives, so it takes a little bit longer to farm. So they're trying to make the game in general just last longer, which is interesting. I mean, it's a MOBA. Usually the games last pretty long, but overall some pretty you know, nice changes. I'm glad we finally got some changes. I'm glad Scourge got nerfed, even though I literally just made a video that's coming out in a couple hours for it, which is kind of sad. So I'm glad they're nerfing it. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like always, I hope you have a great and safe day, and I'll catch you in the next one.